Good morning, everyone. We welcome you to the panel, Voices of Non-Speaking Autistic Individuals. I'm sure we all are very excited as today we unfold some interesting discussions with our panelists, Aditi Sowmyanarayan, Navneet Kulkarni, Tarun Mathew, Tarun Verma, and our moderator, Aditi Gangrade. This webinar is being organized by AFA in collaboration with ECHO India. AFA is a not-for-profit that has pioneered the autism movement in Southeast Asia. Since more than 30 years, AFA has been addressing the needs of autistic individuals and their families in all areas from early intervention to assisted living. ECHO India is a not-for-profit trust committed to improving the well-being of communities by empowering first-mile professionals through capacity-building initiatives in the areas of healthcare, education, and other sustainable development goals. Today, we also have with us our ISL interpreters, Manisha and Atul. Manisha Sharma is a CODA, Child of Deaf Adults, cum certified sign language interpreter. She has been working since 2015 in this field. She's currently working with Doordarshan as an anchor and has been impaneled with the Delhi High Court. Atul Kumar is a certified sign language interpreter and currently working with Amazon. He has been working in the field since 2016. He has done freelancing work and as well as interpreted for private and government organizations also. Without further ado, I would introduce our moderator, Aditi Gangrade. She is the co-founder and chief creative officer at Much Spectrum and Much Media. Aditi is a dynamic entrepreneur and filmmaker, renowned for her pioneering work in promoting neurodiversity and disability representation in the media industry. As someone who identifies as autistic and ADHD and also experiences PMDD, Aditi co-founded the innovative Mumbai-based studio Much Spectrum along with her equally talented autistic partner Alap Debord. Her directorial prowess was recently showcased in the film Unmasking Autism, which was screened at the prestigious Pride Filmtage Bremen Film Festival in Germany. Over to you, Aditi. Aditi Gangrade.
I think Aditi.
Yeah. Can you see me?
Yes, Aditi.
I think there was some technical error. Yeah. So, hi, everybody. My name is Aditi, and I'm so happy to be a part of this panel. So, we are joined by some very famous autistic people, non-speaking autistic people from the community. Most of them are authors. Some of them have also written books. They've been part of this book called Talking Fingers. Tarun Paul, Aditi Sowmyanarayan, Tarun Verma. I'm autistic myself. So just to give you a brief introduction about myself. Thank you, Tanvi, for the introduction. So my partner and I got diagnosed and got discovered in 2022. We reached AFA. So AFA was the platform that we knew would provide like adult diagnosis. So ever since then, like it has been a journey. And with Much Spectrum, our aim is to tell stories of neurodivergent people, disabled people, and other people from underrepresented communities. And happy to be a part of this panel. So I'll quickly introduce our panelists. I'll start with Aditi Sowmyanarayan. So Aditi Sowmyanarayan is an 18-year-old award-winning writer and avid blogger. Her fiction novella, With You Right Through, won the Best Manuscript Award at JK Author Awards, Season 4, 22 and 22-23. Aditi presented in United Nations World Autism Awareness Day event 2023. She is also a member of the steering committee of the India chapter of Institute of Neurodiversity, a Europe-based nonprofit. Aditi is passionate about raising awareness about non-speaking autism and alternative modes of communication, and regularly blogs on www.smallstepbigthought.com navneet.blogspot.com. You should definitely check out her blog. She writes quite often, and I was quite blown by her writing. So you should definitely subscribe to her blog. Uh, then we have Navneet Kulkarni. Navneet was not able to join, but I'll introduce him. Navneet is an award-winning author and poet and blogger. He is a nature enthusiast and an autism advocate. He has authored and co-authored various books: Autism, God's Beautiful Creation, and Answering the Unanswered, Born to Win Hearts, to name a few. He was one of the panelists in the International Day of Persons with Disability, organized by Yashwantrao Chavan Center, Mumbai, and was honored for his achievements in the field of writing. We have Tarun Paul Mathew. Tarun is 18 years young man and lives in Kochi. Tarun is a student, writer, thinker, and self-advocate. Learning music, reading music, poetry, fiction, watching nature documentaries are some of the things he enjoys. Tarun's Instagram handle is at happy_maverick_Tarun. You should definitely follow him on Instagram. All these people are great writers. They are so creative. You should follow them everywhere. Um, Freedom to really just be me, that I value a lot, is something that Tarun says. I like to be accepted as more than my autism and not to be included just for keeping up appearances. Then we have Tarun Verma. Tarun Verma is a 26-year-old man from Noida. Tarun works in Aadhaar Vocational Center at AFA. He is a big foodie and enjoys different kinds of snacks. I'm a foodie too, Tarun. Tarun's interests lie in solving complex jigsaw puzzles of both the types, the physical ones and the on-screen ones, coloring pictures, and making beautiful posters using Photoshop. Lovely. So we'll start with each of our panelists are going to present uh, their their presentations, and we'll start with Aditi Sowmyanarayan. Aditi, would you like to share your screen and present?
Aditi has shared with us our presentation, so I'll be playing it.
Hi. My name is Aditi Sowmyanarayan. I am 18. I am an award-winning author of fiction. This is the default way I introduce myself. So, I took a minute to reflect about why being a writer is so important to me. You see, it is my identity, and all of you would agree that when you work hard enough to establish your identity, that becomes the single most important part of your being. And, if you are a non-speaking autistic like me, you will have to work twice as hard as others, which, according to me, makes the identity twice as precious. If you're curious to know a tad bit more about Aditi, the person, here's me describing myself in my own words. I am a typical girl next door with a difference. I experience the world differently and express myself differently. I am a foodie who hates to cook, a lot like Kusum, the main protagonist of my novella, Gobble Thy Prejudice. I love to binge watch shows on Netflix. I am an avid reader. While my favorite authors are P.G. Wodehouse, Ruskin Bond, and Salman Rushdie, I do enjoy the occasional well-written romance read, the key being well-written. Think Mr. Darcy and Red Butler. That probably explains why I haven't found anyone worth having a crush on, except maybe Fawad Khan and Ranbir Kapoor from pre-Animal days. But I am surely not an exception. More than half of the female population of our subcontinent have at some point or another had a crush on these men. Now that we have established the fact that they don't make men like Mr. Darcy and Rhett Butler anymore, dating is a good way to get a sense of the kind of people out there and hopefully have fun in the process. Yes, Tinder, this is a disabled person speaking. We, as a society, have made strides in understanding and acknowledging gender diversity and sexual orientation. We even realize that forever is a huge commitment to make, and live-ins help people make an informed choice. But why do we tend to associate disability with being asexual, or worse, condemn disabled people to eternal childhood? I may not need a straw to go with my margarita, but I sure do want the society to acknowledge my autonomy and choice to enjoy a glass of margarita. The writer in me is itching to write a story about this, for the written word has immense power to reach out and herald a positive change. This is precisely the motivation behind the blogs that I write for Avaz, narratives and storylines that bring to fore the importance of helping a non-speaker find her voice. I try to incorporate some of these themes in the blogs that I write for India Autism Center as well. And yes, I pride myself on the amount of research that goes into each one of my advocacy blogs. Autism is a very wide spectrum that encompasses a huge range of experiences. There is nothing like being more autistic or less autistic as compared to another. You are either autistic or you are not. The communication needs of autistics in general and non-speakers in particular are diverse. The choice of an appropriate mode of AAC depends on many factors like the learning profile of the person, the existence of motor planning issues if any and their intensity and, to some extent, the current literacy level of the child. It helps to seek help from an AAC-aware speech-language pathologist to understand the various options that are available in the market and choose one that would possibly work the best for a child. One of the things that worked well for me when I was first introduced to Type and Communicate on Avaz is consistency. I was encouraged to use it across different environments, home, my learning center and everywhere else. After all, expression is not a skill reserved for sessions at a learning center. It is a life skill that everyone has to possess in order to function to the best of their ability. I often get this question on the many forums that I have had an opportunity to be a part of. For a non-speaker, you possess very good language and you even write fiction. How did you build on your language skills? If I introduce AAC to a non-speaker, will they, with time, be able to express like you? Here's the deal, the ability to use AAC, in my case text-to-speech, and the ability to spin tales are two unrelated things. AAC should be introduced to anybody for whom speech is not a reliable mode of communication. Everybody deserves a voice and an opportunity to be heard. Not being able to communicate even the basic of things is super frustrating and the root cause of problem behaviors associated with autism. It is also a fact that not every non-speaker picks up the ability to type, probably because of dyspraxia and other similar challenges, which is where pictures or symbol-based AAC and letterboards come to play. There is something in this for everyone. I have enjoyed reading from the time I remember. I picked up the ability to read when I was 3, and observing people and spinning tales are my 2 favorite pastimes. Learning to type on the laptop gave me a sensorially comfortable mode of putting my thoughts on paper, and the warm and encouraging responses that I got for my blogs gave me the impetus to get my stories published. The rest, as they say, is history. Writing is my passion, and like any other craft it needs practice and fine-tuning. Like in the neurotypical world, where different people are good at different things, we non-speakers have varied interests and strengths. But what most non-speakers can achieve with systematic and consistent learning and practice is enough functional language to express clearly in the chosen mode of communication. The experience of communication with an AAC user can be a novel one for the verbal population. For one, it takes longer to type than to talk. The keywords here are patience and mindfulness. I get supremely annoyed when the person I am having a conversation with blurts a word out before I finish typing it or rushes to complete the statement for me. I believe in the concept of meeting in the middle. While I am working to improve the speed of my typing, I also expect the other person to be mindful of my right to not have my statements completed for me. So this, in brief, is me talking about a few things on my mind. Thank you for being an amazing audience and attentively listening to the electronic voice drone in monotone. I am looking forward to your questions. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Aditi, for this wonderful presentation. The last time I spoke to Aditi was in 23, I think. And your thoughts about dating and liking Ranbir Kapoor from the pre-Animal era is something I relate so much with. Uh, and listening to your thoughts about sexuality, exploring your sexuality, and non-speaking autistic people being looked at as people who don't have sexual urges or who can't date is something that we really need to talk more about. And I'm so happy that you did that. And as a teenager, as an autistic teenager, it's brilliant to hear your thoughts. Um, uh, I mean, we get so many messages from people, from parents especially, who ask us that my child is a non-speaker, is not talking yet, is 4 years old, or is a teenager. What do I do? So every parent who has that question, I think listening to these wonderful people and learning more about alternative methods of communication is something that you really need to look into. So next up we have Navneet Kulkarni. So we'll present Navneet's presentation here now.
What helps make a choice about which AAC works best? I would suggest for trying multimodal means of AAC for communication. I use RPM for communication, using tablet, laptop for short period for texting. I'm sensitive to screening, so letterboards is more comfortable for me. Same way, you have to choose AAC according to the sensory challenges. How, as parents and professionals, we can facilitate the process of choosing using communication. Non-verbal means of communication with more gestures help children to learn language and complex of words. Sentences are difficult to understand. Keep your words more context. Gestalt language is common in many autistic kids. Analytical language is what really taught to a child from the beginning. What type of learner is a child? You have to observe and build communication accordingly. How, as parents, professionals, we create barriers to communicating? By restricting non-speaking kids from exploring to different modes of communication, parents and professionals are creating barriers for communication. Assuming that speech is the only mode for communication, presumption of incompetence mindset is creating a barrier for communication. Speaking and non-speaking both are breaking barriers in this neurodivergent world, but skepticism is more on non-speaking autistics. Your advice for other autistic people, parents and professionals? My advice for autistic people is be assured with your different way of thinking. Your skills are your power. Anyone can be neurotypical, but it takes someone special to be a neurodivergent. Feel embarrassed. My advice for parents and professionals, presume competence. Give time to learn. Children need time to think and respond. Your expectations make you weak to work on child. Lower your expectations, sow the seed of love. Every child wants you to listen them, be their backbone. We would love to know more about you, your idea of fun, and any secrets you want to share. I'm an autistic person. I love to be in my own world. Kindly, I want people to understand me. I like to say that life is divine when your intention is pure. I'm not a fun person, but I'm funny for others. The secret which I want to share is like other adults enjoy their me time, like I enjoy, but my inner self doesn't permit to. About crushes or romantic relationships you may have. I'm not that fool to fall in love with any girl. I know that girls may fall in love with me because I'm handsome, but I don't like to keep any relationship with girls because my goals, my values are my crushes. And now that you're a legally adult, things you look forward to, perhaps a glass of beer. I'm legally adult, can vote for my rights, but having glass of beer is complex for me because my spiritual values don't allow me for that. Your thoughts about love, sex, live-in relationships, and on marriage. I have different insights on all this topic. Live-in relationship is not bad, but partners should be loyal to each other. Marriage is a social institution where partners vow to respect each other's dislikes, likes, bonded with each other's emotions, duties towards family members. Marriage is a responsibility which every spouse is wired with. I'm dealing with my own challenges So I cannot think about it. Thanks for watching.
Thanks so much, Navneet. Navneet is not here with us, but this presentation really blew my mind. Someone has written here, Champa Saha has written, Navneet, your words can be immediate reference guide for parents who are confused about how to help their child to speak. Thank you. This is so true. I mean, a lot of parents are sort of wanting and pressurizing their children to speak, and even adults for that matter. And non-speaking is looked at as a deficit, which it is definitely not. Non-speaking does not mean that a person can't think, can't express, can't feel. Here are like some brilliant examples for you all, and you can also, like, this chat is being recorded. You can always go back to this chat, share this with fellow parents, and probably start learning more about these people. And I think community knowledge, community wisdom is the best wisdom, I feel, because this really represents how diverse autism is and how differently it can be for each person. And definitely, like, talking is very different for a lot of autistic people. Communication is difficult, not the language bit. We might be great at language, but communication can be difficult. So if a person is experiencing extreme anxiety talking, or if they are not able to communicate the way neurotypicals do, you definitely need to be more patient. And I think even introducing sign language, introducing AAC devices, introducing text to speech and other modes of communication is not something that you should look at from like a stigmatized point of view. You should definitely consider it if it's working out for your loved one. So moving forward to Tarun, Mathew, Paul. Tarun, Paul, Mathew. Tarun is going to present his presentation. We have two Taruns today and we have two Aditis, all autistic. So it's a great mix of Taruns and Aditis. So yes, can we have Tarun's presentation, please?
Presentation by Tarun Paul Mathew. I am Tarun Paul Mathew. I am 18 years old and live with my parents in Kochi. I am mainly a non-speaking autistic who types to communicate. I consider myself to be a free thinker. I love to learn, math being my favorite subject. Music is also something I enjoy quite a lot. Reading poetry, fiction, and non-fiction are also things I enjoy. Watching nature documentaries, especially about life underwater, is something I spend a lot of time doing. I love watching videos on YouTube too. Music, kind people, and nature help me stay regulated and keep my anxiety levels under control. Freedom to really just be me, that I value a lot. I like to be accepted as more than my autism and not be only included just for keeping up appearances. My Instagram handle is at happy_maverick_Tarun. A few words that describe me. Happy. Free-thinking individual. Sensory sensitive. Would enjoy each interesting moment to the fullest. Humanitarian. Totally peace-loving. On what helps make a choice about which AAC works best. Observe. Take time to think. Trust the person to share their choice. Try the AAC to see if it works, like the way one finds the kinds of music one chooses to listen to. You listen to different kinds of music before deciding the genres you like, and what works for you on different occasions. If the person is trying to learn to use the AAC, even though maybe only doing it with help, it could show the possibility that the AAC may work. If the person gets totally frantic, the indication is probably that the AAC is not working. For me, only easily interactive has worked. Interactive means easy to use, and able to match with people speaking. Personalize the AAC to see if it helps, maybe include phrases or words known or heard often by the person. Personal information. Maybe a voice of the person's choice. Perhaps color of the person's liking, or pictures of their choice. I had a folder with cards I used regularly, and it was named Tarun's Voice. Pick an AAC to suit skill of person. It is just about having help from the speech therapist in introducing the AAC that matches the skill level of the person. For people who only have understanding of pictures, introducing language in AAC only makes it difficult. It also makes people to believe that AAC is not working or that the person has cognitive difficulties. That of course is not true. It is only a cognitive difference, not a deficit as it is portrayed. Pick an AAC that is easy to use when starting. How parents and professionals can facilitate the process of using communication. Listen, listen, and listen. Go for visual methods to communicate. Talk just what is necessary. Be patient. Give time to respond to the question. Instead of answering for us. Provide other communication modes. What kinds of difficulties you have faced when starting with an AAC? I had lots of struggles as I started with supported writing. Most important was to get people to believe in my capability. How do parents or professionals create barriers to communicating? By that calling out other forms of communication as being of less value. Understanding that it is the communication that matters. Not looking to give equal importance to the other modes of communication, instead of speech only. Many neurotypical people think of AAC as a gadget like a phone or computer and think about it as something to get used to. What do you think? How people miss out understanding the many other things that come under AAC, including the smile and the nod of the head as you hear this response. No need to get used to having to either use it, or to understand it right. Then, why do we carry this misconception that an AAC can only be a gadget, or that we need to get used to it? Looking at AAC as the necessary voice for a person is all that's needed. Advice to parents and professionals. Take time to understand us. Presume the understanding actually is ingrained in your child. Infinite possibilities do exist to become connected with your child through modes of communication other than speech. Listen to us, looking to do it not just through your ears, but with your entire body. You happen to hold the key role in supporting us, autistic people. It is your words and actions through which people love or detest, give respect or look down on us, support or fear us. For people to take interest in us positively, you need to lead your lives responsibly. Please take time to listen to us, and learn from us, about us and autism. Possibly, lots of difference to happen in our lives through only that. Fun for me would be. Perhaps, think to take trips to enjoy nature. Only music gives great happiness other than nature. Mostly, being able to move doing nothing. Having flight ability. Any secrets I may want to share? No, by sharing my secrets, they would become known to all, and naturally lose their status of secrecy. That, something can become the single major cause for stress, only further makes me not want to share my secrets. Have I had crushes or romantic relationships? Heart plays a likely role in this largely biological mechanism. Perhaps, the opportunity will present itself for me over time, changing my lack of experience of feeling the pangs of romantic love following infatuation. The catalyst mostly involves some combination of hormones and a sense of happiness in being accepted for who we are. Now, to me, if acceptance of who we are is an essential element to trigger love, the probability of getting acceptance as a non-speaking autistic can become the biggest hurdle. It is the sad reality. Failing to realize it will only cause sadness and heartbreak for me. I am just fine as I am. On love. As mentioned earlier, love, the enjoyable experience, is often a mixture in hormones at play, and being accepted and valued for who you are as an individual. Of course, the experience is mostly not perfect, which creates chaos for those involved. Interesting to note is that having the grace to accept and value one another is what makes love to last. The lacking of this kills love, creating sadness and anger, making perfect love just a mirage-like experience. And now legally an adult, things I look forward to, perhaps a glass of beer. Having the right to go to a disco to dance. To vote next time. Have a bank account. Having a glass of beer is on my list. But that really would not make me any more of an adult, if I don't find the maturity that it takes to be a responsible drinker. The hope to maybe get going in meeting like-minded people of my age, having the same interests as me, without my parents having to take me along wherever they go. What do I think about watching a movie that has been rated A? That is hardly a question. It is only natural to watch A-rated movies if you are an adult. What do I think about sex? If sex hadn't been there, neither animals, nor we humans would have been able to survive, or evolve to who we are today. For that reason alone, sex is a necessity. Opportunity to express intimacy. Sex is also a primal need that can't be ignored, and not meant to become confused with love. And some thoughts on live-in relationships and marriage. People make their own choices in living life. Will not look to make a comment on others' choices. In love, you only use your emotional brain, only to often regret later. Often, the understanding is too slow to happen. It then appears to become something sad, and giving one anger and lot of bitterness. The relationship turns into an ever-tightening noose around your neck. Hence, getting into a live-in relationship or marriage needs much careful thought. On loneliness. People think non-speaking autistics like to be alone. So interestingly, kind of that closes most doors to being connected to people. In time we often pass through open doors that take us into lonely rooms, each just more isolated than the previous one. Opportunities to meet people becomes lot lesser, eventually leading to a sad and forgotten existence. Often a big concern found wandering the recesses in my mind. Both loneliness and boredom move people into bad phases. Light slowly fades, to let darkness envelope life completely. On friendship and the need to have friends. Friendship in light color, making life beautifully unique. Blue skies look great, but they need giant white clouds, vibrant rainbows, and birds to make it truly striking. Our lives too need family and friends, experiences, and purpose to make it truly striking. In having the light of true friends only, does the darkness of the loneliness break. Life starts looking complete only having friends to share it with. My experience in friendship is not much, yet it is my hope that I have some true friends that last lifelong. And to end, I share a poem of mine. I am as human as you. I see the true colors of life. I hear music that gives life its very soul. I smell the roses strewn on my life path, though the thorns stall the steps I take. I taste the sugar and spice to yet make my life whole. I feel the pain that takes the soul out of humanity. I experience happiness, pain, sorrow, anger, and every emotion as you do too. Take me for the human I am, same as you.
So beautifully written. I loved the phrase where you said, I'm fine as I am. So I truly relate with that. Um, I haven't been a part of the autistic community for very long. It's just been 2 years, but listening to such voices has really, like, it keeps changing my perspective about the community. The community is ever evolving. The discourse is ever evolving. Um, what what are our thoughts is like, there are so many new people in the community, and as Tarun said, I mean, thoughts on people don't even think that non-speaking autistic and autistic people can have sexual urges, can be thinking about dating, and this can make our lives like really lonely, because people tend to also sort of misunderstand autistic expression. So, so I feel like we should be open to listening to new perspectives. And for all the parents who are here, who have joined this webinar on a Sunday morning, I would like to tell you, you definitely need to think on the lines of independence. I mean, we all, like, once we become adults, we really want to be independent, and that uh, that infantilization that happens with most autistic people in our society is really something that really bogs us down and doesn't let us explore our potential the way we would want to. So I think giving that autonomy and agency to your autistic loved ones is really important, and not thinking that I mean, you don't need to think on the lines of that, okay, this person is autistic or this person is disabled, they can't have such feelings. These are very outdated thoughts, and this is something that we really need to change. So coming up next, we have Tarun Verma. Tarun is going to present now. Can we have Tarun's presentation, please?
Parents and younger sister. I am a helpful, generous, content, perfectionist, patient, thoughtful, and a joyful person. My mother has been my constant teacher and guide. During my early years I have learned a lot of wonderful things from my teachers and friends at Open Door School, Action for Autism. After graduating from Open Door School I started working at Action for Autism's Adhar Vocational Center. At Adhar Vocational Center, I work in the production team, making home decor products and accessories by doing beading, stitching various patterns, weaving clothes like muffler and dari on loom, packaging spices, and helping and serving each other. I love my work at Adhar. I have also done a course in multimedia. I am trained to use Photoshop software to create beautiful posters, do cropping work and make nice invites and visiting cards. I make posters and greetings for OFA whenever it is required. I communicate by using signs, typing on my phone and on my tab in Avaz app and also in notes. I speak some words, which I have learned by lot of practice, to tell what I want. Sometimes some of those words may not be very clear to others. I use many other ways to tell what I want. I search photos on Google and in the gallery of my phone to tell what I want. I also write to express what I want. I see and search photos on my computer and talk about my relatives, friends, the places I went, the food I ate and the other things I did. And I really wish that I express all my thoughts, desires, and feelings to others and they could understand me. I love playing online games. My favorite games are Candy Crush, Color Switch, Color by Numbers. I am also fond of solving very complex and minute jigsaw puzzles on the screen and also the ones which are conventional. I have passion for watching YouTube cookery shows, glancing through my books and swaying and enjoying Bollywood and pop songs and also some of the rhymes. I love the rhythms and beats in those songs and rhymes. And listening to my music on and on gives me a very good feeling. My other hobbies are books, coloring, being in swimming pool, going for outings and watching ASMR videos. I take special interest in intricate patterns like movement of ants, movement of cars, birds, and leaves. I love my books. I can spend hours seeing pictures in my books. I am interested in seeing pictures and videos of human internal organs. I love getting compliments and appreciation for the work I do. At the same time, I just find it very bad when people talk and behave badly with me. I get real pleasure when I succeed in the work I do and then I am able to prove myself. When people around me understand what I want to tell and when I do what I love. I am a very organized person. I like to follow the rules and do not want to break them. I always want to do my things with perfection. Also, I keep myself happy by enjoying the things I like. People tell that I am a very helpful person. I feel happy giving away my stuff to others. And, most of the times I don't lose my patience and keep trying to get success. I am no less though I think and express differently. If I am given the opportunity, I can learn and do the things which other people can do. After the book Talking Fingers, I am happy that many people could know what I think and how I feel. I feel very good to know that after reading the book people are understanding that the autistic people who do not speak, can think a lot and are no less. I want to tell all the people here that, just think and believe that the autistic person who do not speak is no less and they can think, understand, and do lot of things. Please do not force the autistic person to speak as the person feels very bad when he is not able to do it. Give the person other ways like using sign, pictures, pointing to alphabet board, writing and typing, the ones which he finds easy to use and talk to others, like my parents and teachers did. I wish that all the people, autistic and non-autistic, to know and understand each other and we all work, do things together with love and respect.
Thank you, Tarun. That was wonderful. Your art, your designs are beautiful, and I'm looking forward to meet you in person very soon. If we are able to like come to AFA and see your work, really happy to see your presentation. What all of you, Aditi, Navneet, Tarun Paul and Tarun Verma. What all of you said essentially is something that our community and society overall needs to know about us autistic people and also non-autistic people. Uh, a, a lot of times, I think autistic expression is sort of looked at as problem behaviors or inappropriate behaviors, right? Because neurotypical people or people who don't understand autistic communication are not able to understand what we exactly want to express. And I think having these different modes of communications and giving the person that agency will really change that, because I mean there is so much frustration and so much anger when you're not being understood, when you're not being accepted for who you are. So I think to get a better idea of our community, to understand autistic people better, we need to access better resources. And like when you search autism on Google, a lot of the things that you see are problematic. So I think for everyone here, like when you're looking up autism, when you are looking for content, looking for uh, articles, you need to look at content that is created by autistic people. So if you want resources, we can definitely send you like a list of resources. You should definitely read the book Talking Fingers. AFA has a beautiful newsletter that comes up, I think fortnightly or monthly. Please correct me if I'm wrong. You definitely need to subscribe to that. Aditi's blog is a wonderful place to learn more about autistic people and her own stories that she writes. So I think that is a great platform. If you want to learn more about autism and basically access more resources, you can also look up Much Spectrum, which is what I founded in 2022. So definitely look up more neurodiversity affirming resources. We are also launching a website soon, which is muchspectrum.com. It's going to come out on 31st of May. So definitely look out for that. And please, like to everyone you speak to, you definitely should tell people that they need to access neurodiversity affirming resources and speak to autistic people when you're trying to understand more about autism instead of doing anything else. I think listening to and speaking to autistic people is important. Aditi Sowmyanarayan has started this beautiful group of non-speaking autistic people. If you want to join that, please write into Aditi Sowmyanarayan and do join in that group if you are a non-speaking autistic person who is here. Um, we are happy to take your questions. We already received like a bunch of questions that we are going to answer, but we are also happy to take some live questions. Um, so please type in your questions in the Q&A box, and I think we'll we'll start with some questions that we have already received, and then we'll come to the live questions that you folks have shared. So Aditi has received this question. Aditi Sowmyanarayan has received these questions. Someone has written in saying, I have an 8-year-old non-speaking son who is hyperactive and continually asking for something or the other. How to communicate with him on this? Aditi, would you be able to reply to that question? Thanks, Aditi. I'll quickly read out your response for all our viewers. Um, I think so. Aditi is replying to the first question with, I think the question is a bit vague in terms of what he's asking, and more importantly, how is he expressing it? Have you introduced him to AAC? I believe some of his behaviors will come under control if he is given a mode to express. Above and beyond, can you scroll down, Aditi? Above and beyond everything, he is a child, and it is surely valid for him to ask. Can you scroll down? It is surely valid for him to ask something or the other. Hope that answers your question. So that is Aditi's response to the first question. Uh, we'll move on to the second question, which is also to Aditi Sowmyanarayan. How do we raise our voice in government sector? Aditi is now responding to the second question. Thanks, Aditi. So I'll read out Aditi's response to the second question. Uh, the RPWD Act of 2016 recognizes autism as a disability and provides certain accommodations across different aspects of learning and living. The government provides certain accommodations to their employees who are caregivers to autistics. Please Google to understand the provisions better. Huge thanks to Mary Barua, Madam, for her efforts to get autism recognized as a disability in the Act. So that is Aditi's response. We'll move on to some questions that we have for Tarun, Mathew. Tarun, is it okay if I go on? Would you be, okay, sure. So the first question for Tarun is, you have been teaching as a guest faculty in some programs. Would you share a bit about your experiences? Tarun, would you like to answer in the chat box or would you like to present your screen? Sure, please go ahead. Okay, so Tarun has already written his reply to the question, and I'll read the response for all our viewers. I have only done it once for special educators in Trivandrum. It was of course an interesting experience. Best thing was getting acknowledged for my capacity as a person with lived experience, expertise. So thanks, Tarun. We'll move on to the second question for, again, Tarun, Mathew, for you. Would you suggest some online courses authored by you or other self-advocates for all of us to learn more about AACs and ways to start using them? Tarun, could you present your screen again and share the response with us? Okay, thanks. Thanks, Tarun. Uh, so Tarun has replied to this question saying, um, Talking Fingers that I co-authored, books by other autistics. I don't know how to pronounce this, Tarun, but I do in Autism Land. This is, I think this is a book, and also Aditi's blog. Edu. Okay. Edu in Autism Land. Lovely. Thanks, Tarun. We'll move on to some questions for Tarun Verma. Um, Tarun, should I share the questions? Would you want to answer to these questions? Okay. So for Tarun Verma, the first question is, some people have expressed that it helps them emotionally if someone is touching an elbow to use AAC or when they type. Would you have any advice about ways to facilitate independence? Okay, so Tarun has shared his screen and his response to this question is keep doing what helps the person feel easy and happy. Feeling happy is more important for the autistic person. Okay. Um, should we move on to the next question, Tarun? Okay. How can we create a more inclusive environment for non-speaking individuals? Okay, this is the same response to this. Okay, keep doing. Is this the same response to the second question also, Tarun? Okay. Uh, can you move on to the second slide? I think that is your response. Okay, it's the same. Keep doing what helps the person feel easy and happy. Feeling happy is more important for the autistic person. Okay, I think the next question for Tarun is, I have a question about how to make nonverbal child speak if he is 5 years old. Tarun replies to this, writing, please don't force the child to speak. Give him AACs, which are easy for him to learn and use. Okay. There is one question for me. Tarun, you can stop presenting. Thank you. Okay. So someone has asked me, how is Much Much Spectrum and Much Much Media contributing to this field? Please share a success story if any. I don't know if this is a success story, but Much Much Media was started in 2019. We were a production house back then. Now we are a full stack agency, and Much Much Spectrum was started in 2022 after my husband and partner Alap and I both discovered that we are neurodivergent. I'm autistic ADHD, and we started looking up for resources for neurodiversity and disability and health overall, and also chronic illnesses. But we were not able to find like resources that came from autistic people, from self-advocates themselves. And that was the entire reason to start Much Much Spectrum in the first place. When we started, we didn't know that we would be able to like make it like a decent community or something like that. We started out on Instagram. The first thing that came to our mind, because my partner and I both are filmmakers, we went out and made this series. We bootstrapped a series which is called Alag Hai Kam Nahi. You can go check it out on our YouTube channel, which is Much Much Media. So we spoke to 5 neurodivergent people, and it's a 6 episodic series. One episode is with a visually impaired woman from Bombay, and that was the beginning. Sorry, that was the beginning of Much Much Spectrum, and now we are a community of over 50,000 people, and all the brilliant folks who joined in today: Tarun, Verma, um, Aditi and Navneet, all of us are a part of a community now, and it's growing. It has become global, and the next step this year is hopefully like launching more resources. We are planning to make ourselves into a repository of content. So if anybody thinks they are neurodivergent or has a particular disability, or have some sort of chronic illness, they can always, or any health issues or something like that, they can always come to Much Much Spectrum. We are launching this website this month, at the end of this month, which is muchmuchspectrum.com. You can go check it out when it launches. And meanwhile, you can subscribe to our YouTube or check us out on Instagram. So that is about it. So I think we'll take the live questions for all our panelists here. Um, Please, Aditi, Tarun Verma, if any of you want to answer any of these questions, please feel free to type in. The first question is, I think Tarun has replied to this question. Okay, I think most of the questions have been replied to. But if any of you still want to go ahead and respond to any of the questions that we have received in the Q&A box.
Aditi,
Yeah.
sorry, Tarun wants to respond. Tarun Paul wants to respond to a question.
Okay.
And then we have a question from Za.
Okay, so I'll read out the question and I'll also read Tarun's response to it. So someone has asked, one of the huge roadblocks I face at work is engaging with young parents in a discussion about how technology can be used to augment communication, and that speech is only one form of communication. On one hand, there is a huge fear built around screen use, with terms like virtual autism, quote unquote virtual autism, being used flippantly, and thereby the tremendous benefits getting unexplored. And on the other hand, there are indeed significant adverse effects of excessive screen use too. While I understand and agree that it is an individualized approach, would you have any general or specific advice for both professionals and parents alike to, sorry, Tarun, can you go back? Yeah. Would you have any general or specific advice for both professionals and parents alike to strike this balance? So here is Tarun's response. Tarun writes in saying, possibly the biggest difference to the trajectory of my life has been made by technology. Having access to technology gave me access to life itself. Life happens for me because of screen time, be it for using social media to connect with people or communication, or for day-to-day functioning. My learning is also supported because of technology. To access music and other calming apps as well, I need screen time and technology. Yes, all this is, of course, in addition to people. You are webinar too because you have chosen to sit in front of a screen. For all of us, screen time and technology have been the game changers, and going forward, none of us will be able to do without it, right? So I love that Tarun's response to this. Okay, do we have any other questions?
There are two questions, Aditi. One is Francis asking if there are any community meetups in Bangalore. This is for you. And for any of the panelists, if they have information about it. And Zakia wants to know if they speak Hindi at home. Can Awaz be helpful?
Okay. So as for community meetups, because the community is like so global and so spread all across the country also, we don't have specific meetups for each city, but we do have meetups that are online in nature. So Indians from who live in India and also Indians who live abroad, uh, who are also neurodivergent are able to join these groups, meetups. So you can maybe uh, write in to us on Instagram at Much Much Spectrum, and we'll send you a link to our upcoming meet. I think that would be ideal for us to share the link with you, and maybe we can also add you to our group. So we have a WhatsApp group which is called Lived Experiences India. So it's a group for Indian community. It's for neurodivergent people, self advocates, parents, caregivers, allies. It's for everybody. So you can probably join that for updates and to be a part of the community. Uh, does anybody here want to, Tarun, both Taruns, Aditi, do you want to take the second question about the Hindi speaking at home query? Uh, Nidhi, could you please go again with the second question? I think having that uh, would help both.
So the question was about speaking, if they, for Hindi speakers at home, would Awaz help? And if Tarun or any of the panelists want to think about it, maybe they can. Oh, okay. Aditi says she has answered the question on chat, so maybe you could check there. We also have a couple of people who have raised their hands, Sunita, Sharma, and then Zoom. Aditi, if we have time for it.
Maybe we can do 5 more minutes.
Sure, thank you.
Okay, are all the panelists okay with going ahead with like in going for 5 more minutes? Okay. Okay, sure, we can let people in.
Aditi, could we ask Sunita to ask her question?
Sure, please go ahead.
Sunita, if you could either unmute and ask your question or type it. Best is to type it in the chat, please. Likewise, for anybody else who has raised their hands. Thank you.
The attendees will be able to write in the chat box or in the question answer box.
Do we have any questions? Please, you can type in your questions here. Okay. Sunita Sharma is writing, Satyam is 27, you're completely non-verbal, but not non-communicative. He has his own ways of making people understand his things. Sunita is writing. Okay, lovely. So I think we don't have any more questions. Okay, Sunita has also written, only issue is repeated questions and assurance required. Do any of the panelists want to respond to that?
While the panelists are responding to it, Tarun has a request, Tarun Verma. He would now, so if we can just thank Tarun.
Thanks, Tarun. Thanks for joining.
Thank you, Tarun.
Okay, lovely. Aditi and Tarun, would you like to respond to Sunita Sharma? They have written in their question in the chat box. So Tarun and Aditi have replied to most of the questions. So I think we'll close this webinar now. Thank you everyone for joining. If you have any more questions, please feel free to write into Nidhi or Tanvi from AFA and they'll be able to help you. Also, if you think you might be neurodivergent or someone in your family might be neurodivergent, please reach out to AFA because they provide diagnosis and also other support systems for neurodivergent people. We have received our diagnosis from AFA and support also from AFA. So thanks everybody for joining in. And it was nice talking to you both, Tarun and Aditi, and also Navneet and Tarun Verma. It was a lovely panel listening to an all autistic panel, first of all. So it's a great experience listening to you all. Thanks so much. And yes. Cool. So
Thank you, Aditi, for wonderfully moderating the session. And like you said, a very big thanks to our panelists for agreeing to be part of this and their amazing presentation. Big thank to all of you who joined on this Sunday morning. It was quite an insightful one, and I'm sure it has given much food for thought for all of us. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day and a week ahead. Bye, Tarun. Bye, Aditi.
Thank
See
you,
you.
everyone. Bye. Bye, Tarun. Bye, Tarun. Bye, Aditi.